What's up guys, this is Dave with Gen 3D Tech. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Roccat Burst Pro Air. But before we do, let's take a look at the box. So as you can see, one nice feature is it's also, besides the 2.4 gigahertz wireless, it's also Bluetooth, which is always nice. It comes with their proprietary Titan optical switches. Comes with a charging table. It doesn't come with a dongle though, which is kind of disappointing, and it has a PTFE glide feet. It's got a 1900 DPI owl eye sensor, and of course it's got tons of RGB, which is kind of crazy, but maybe a little unnecessary, but some people like it. And then the switches have a 100 million click life cycle, which is excellent, and 81 grams extreme lightweight. All right. I'd never thought 81 grams is extreme lightweight, but I guess let's check it out. Oh, what the hell? 81 grams lightweight, my ass. This thing's a brick. Just look at that thing. Well, the box did say extreme lightweight, and Techni said it's light, so maybe it is me. I guess I better hit the gym. Alright, it's been 6 weeks. I've been hitting the gym every day. I took my pre-workout. I think I'm ready. Let's do this, baby. Whoa, it really is extreme lightweight. I guess it was me all this time. Techni was right. This thing ain't nothing now. I wonder what my X-Lite feels like. What the hell? Roccat, look what you've done! You owe me an X-Lite! Let's get into it. Alright guys, in all seriousness, this is actually a really good mouse, and I actually do like it a lot. And 80 grams is not terribly heavy. I just thought it'd be funny to poke fun at both sides of the debate. Recently I've seen several polls that show that most users still prefer heavier mice. I realize a lot of the people watching reviews like this live kind of in a bubble. They're looking for every little extra bit of edge they can get in first-person shooters and whatnot. And as someone who's come from a heavier mouse than this and started using lighter mice, I definitely see the benefit to it. But for Roccat, I'm sure they have marketing numbers and bean counters that tell them that sales-wise that a slightly heavier mouse will sell better to the general gaming public and not just the, the elite high-end gamers. I'm sure they even maybe have some statistics about having a bunch of RGB on their mouse like this, which most companies are starting to go away from that. The actual RGB lights in most mice actually practically weigh nothing. It's just the size of the battery you have to put in there to power a mouse with this much RGB for a long period of time is going to be a bit heavier. And if you didn't have to do that, I'm sure you could go with a slightly lighter battery, which thus will cut down some weight. But I'm sure I speak for everyone that we would love to see Roccat come out with a symmetrical mouse wireless like this that's closer to 60 grams. And there's no reason, I don't see why they can't have a one for the general masses and one for FPS gamers that prefer lighter weight mice. I still think that that's probably about a good 40% of the total gaming mouse market, which is probably enough to justify another tier to a mouse model. But having said that, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with this mouse. It's not perfect. It has some flaws, and I'll go over those with you, but there's a lot to like here. The thing that you'll definitely notice the most is just how sturdy this mouse is. I mean, it's just a tank. Some people mentioned they didn't like the buttons. They're the Titan optical buttons. But personally, I like the buttons. They're not the best buttons of any mouse that I've used for sure. But one thing that I really like about this mouse, and I can't say this for every mouse. For example, this is my new Max Gaming Edition of the X-Lite V2, which I just got also. Only difference really between the V1 is the glass gates and the color scheme, of course. But this mouse is awesome in game, but it's really hard to edit videos with these mice. They're not really great all around mice for like office work. And this mouse right here is actually a really good gaming mouse, and it's awesome doing things like video editing and just general office work and general use. This will probably be my new editing mouse, even though it's definitely not going to take the place of any of my X-Lites. By the way, I have to keep this X-Lite over there because these glass gates on this new Blaze pad, it just moves around all by itself. It's crazy. So as far as the rest of the buttons, you can see the DPI button is really large. I haven't accidentally hit it because even though it's big, it doesn't stick up very high. The side buttons are really large. I also haven't accidentally hit these either. On the back, you can put it in Bluetooth mode, off, or 2.4 gigahertz. And then right here, you have different RGB settings you can play around with. The scroll wheel is nice and tactile. It does have a little RGB strip on it. Of course, just like most newer mice, it has USB-C in the front. Then again, on the bottom, you can see the PTFE feet, and they're nice and rounded. They don't catch on anything. I got no problem with these feet. They're actually pretty nice, I think. You can actually see there's actually a honeycomb shell underneath this second layer of see-through plastic. And here's a sound test of the buttons. On mouse 1 and mouse 2, there's just a little bit of pre-travel and almost no post-travel. No side-to-side movement for the most part. It's pretty tight. Overall, a very solid mouse. Alright, let's take a look at the software. This is the Roccat Swarm software. You got 5 DPI settings right here. 400, 800, 1200, 1600, and 3200. Always make sure this is not enabled. You got 5 different profile slots. You can program all 8 different buttons. And then right here, of course, you can change all the RGB settings there. The polling rate comes at 1000 Hertz, which is where you want to leave it. Has a nice battery status indicator light there. Signal strength, that's kind of cool, it shows that. It has an angle snapping option, which is defaulted to off. The distance control, which I believe is the LOD, set to very low. Debounce time is set to 10 milliseconds. Jeez. Let's set that to 1. And right here, this is your LED timeout. So after 15 seconds, the LED will turn off to conserve battery. Of course, right here is the energy savings button. It's a fairly robust software. Most mice have a lot of these options, but it's not a bad piece of software, and I do like that you can just apply it every time you make a change. Shape-wise, I really love the shape of this mouse and the size. It fits my hand really well. The shape is basically the S2, which a lot of people like. Again, I'm sure if this would have came in at 60 grams, people would probably be raving about this mouse. The price is $99. You can get it off their website, and I'm sure there's other places you can buy it. I do think for what you get, it's a little high. I think this probably would sell a little bit better if it was closer to $80 or less. Again, if they sold something closer to 60 grams for $80, people would be raving about this mouse. So Roccat, if you're listening, give the fans what they want. A lighter weight version of this mouse, maybe with a more updated sensor also. As far as grip style, I can totally palm this mouse with my medium 19 by 10 centimeter hands. Can relax claw it, fingertip it. It's really honestly not that heavy. It also depends on the pad. Like this pad right here is really fast, and it makes this mouse feel really light. So having the right pad can also help with a heavier mouse. Some pads I tested this out on, this did feel a bit heavier and slower. My in-game performance was pretty good with this mouse. It definitely didn't hurt my scores and performance, but I certainly didn't set any records with it. I do feel like maybe there's a little bit of click latency in it, which perhaps they might be able to fix with a firmware update eventually. I don't know what those latency numbers are exactly, but it certainly didn't hinder my performance. But again, at the same time, it didn't exactly elevate it either. For $99, I would expect a bit better sensor performance. The optical switches, some people are not a big fan of them, but at least on my copy, I actually enjoy these switches. The side buttons are fine for me too. They're nice and snappy. They are a little big and stick out a bit much, but definitely not the worst. As much as I like the X-Lite, these microdot switches I really don't like. I really wish people would stop using these microdot switches that are found on this, and the Bolt Wireless also has them too. For some people, you know, the side buttons are a deal breaker, but if I confess, I actually rarely use side buttons myself. So all in all, I do think this is a solid mouse. It's definitely built really well. I think it's gonna stand up to heavy use, but I think it has a very specific type of user. First of all, it's gonna be one that doesn't mind a little bit heavier mouse, which I think is the majority of most people who buy gaming mice. Some people are going to be put off by all the RGB, but others actually people who are going to seek it out just for that reason. I think it looks pretty cool, but it's definitely not a reason to buy it for me. Certainly some people will like the shape. Even though it's a symmetrical mouse, it doesn't have buttons on the right side, so if you're a lefty, you probably want to look elsewhere. It's unfortunate there's not more options for lefties button-wise. If you're needing a mouse with Bluetooth, this is definitely an option, and there's actually not that many gaming mice that do have that option, but this is definitely one of them. I just don't recommend it for FPS gaming. This mouse also comes in black. I went with the white, obviously. The RGB is a little more subtle on the black version from what I've seen. The sides, they are a bit slick. I'm not a huge fan of this surface. Kind of hard to pick it up on the camera. It is a bit slick. One nice thing is it doesn't really pick up fingerprints. Some mice I have are just like fingerprint magnets, and that's not the case with this mouse. I don't really have any problem of it slipping out though. I don't know how it stands up to sweat. These slick sides, that might be an issue for some people. I do think there are cheaper options that are lighter and give you slightly better performance in game, like the X-Lite and the Ninjutsu Katana, just to name a couple. But if you're a Roccat fan, or if you're a fan of the wired version of this and you want wireless, then certainly, you know, this is an option. It does come with a USB-C charging cable. It's a decent cable. It's definitely not as good as the like the cables that come with the Pulsar, for example. It's okay, but it's a wireless mouse, so I mean, you're really only going to use it when you have to charge it. I guess you could use it if you wore down the mouse, but you know, I have so many mice, I just grab another one and start charging it. The really disappointing thing is, you know, it doesn't come with a dongle. I borrowed one from my glorious Model D, but at least they do label their dongle, which a lot of them don't, so I don't misplace it. But for $99, it definitely should have included a dongle. I realize I've heard some people tell me, well, you know, most people have an extra one, but I don't think that's an excuse. Not everybody does. And for $99, you could definitely include that. And if you're not going to include it, you know, make it cheaper. I have several mice that are as low as $60 that come with a dongle. So yeah, Roccat, I'd like to see that, and if there's some sort of revision. Quite a few of them also come with an extra set of PTFE feet, in case you wear it down, but you just get the one with them. Like I said, this could have been a really good mouse. It just comes up short. I think if they lowered the price down to, you know, $70 or $80, then I would definitely recommend the mouse. If we're a fan of the wired version and you just want wireless, then go ahead and get it. If you're used to it and you do well with it, you'll do well with this mouse. The wireless works really well. I don't have any problem with any kind of weird wireless latency. It's just a really overall solid mouse. It doesn't do anything particularly exceptional, but it doesn't really have any weakness, I think. Unless 80 grams is too heavy for you, but you can always hit the gym like I did. Just be careful, otherwise you might break your lighter mice. And just to check, 80 grams, so at least they're truthful about that. Several of the mice that I reviewed have not been accurate at all. Anyways, that's about it for this review. It's a decent mouse, kind of expensive, it could have been a lot better, but it's solid. And for the right person, I think you're really gonna like this mouse. The clicks on this, like I said, are pretty good. For me, I'm actually gonna be using this mouse a lot. Not so much as a gaming mouse, but just for editing, because I find it's really comfortable doing that type of work. And the clicks are really solid. I don't have any missed clicks like some of the gaming mice. Some of these gaming mice are freaking awesome in games, but when you get them in the editor, they misclick all the time, and they're just not the best office productivity type mice. But this mouse is awesome at doing like office work and editing, and it's a good gaming mouse. So this is a great overall mouse. If you want a Swiss Army knife type mouse that does everything good, just not exceptional, and you don't mind the high price and $99, then yeah, this might be for you. But if you're a lightweight mouse fan, then you're probably gonna want to pass. Or if you're money conscious, there's definitely other options out there that'll give you a better bang for the buck. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this review, and as always, please hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love it if you did. I'm trying really hard to earn your sub. Even when I'm not pumping out reviews, I'm grinding behind the scenes, trying to arrange getting more products to be reviewed. There's just a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know of, how involved it is. It's just a long process, and I enjoy that part a lot, actually, maybe even more than doing the reviews. But the end product, you know, are these reviews, and I hope you're enjoying them, and if you do, please leave a comment. I love answering questions and hearing feedback, and it helps the algorithm, I guess. I'm not completely sure about that, but that's what they say. So yeah, so leave comments and likes and subscribe, please, and hopefully this channel will keep growing, and I'll just be able to keep getting more content and just making it better. I'm striving to come up with new ideas and just honing my craft. So yeah, that's about it, and I'll see you next time. Later.